Hi listener, welcome back to our readings series. This is the 5th readings episode. Today we're going to be reading a poem. So before we do that, just want to say, if you have stuff that you've written or stuff that you're thinking of writing that might be suitable for this series, would love to have stuff that isn't just the Andy Show. So please do get in touch. You can find the details in the podcast notes. But yeah, today we are talking about a poem by me again. But I think what I'll do is I'll read it and then share just a few of my thoughts about where it's coming from, and then we'll be done. Hope you enjoy. This poem is called Our God Reigns. Our God reigns, falling soft and cool on a hot, hot day. When we build walls between our gardens, you fall on both sides. You fall on both sides. You soak us in love, and we run laughing for shelter. We splash in puddles, because we sense your adult supervision, and the world weight lifts for a second. We gather the rain in vast reservoirs, and pipe it to our houses. We are made from this stuff. Yes, you clean us, but more important, we are made from your substance. We ache for your cool embrace, fall gently on our heads again, flow from our eyes when tears won't come. When you cry with us, we glimpse your nature. When I had a look through this poem just a few minutes ago, knowing that I was going to read it, I was struck by three things in there that I think are key to what I was trying to say by this. I think the one that flows through all of it is this sense of God's joy in us and our joy in God. And this is not something that I'm good at experiencing or expressing or even knowing the truth of. But somehow, through these words, I feel like I got somewhere that makes sense for me about how God feels about us. Loving us like children, taking joy in us, and us taking joy in God. And that love being available and not needing to be earned or even being noticed. And the sense of adult supervision that we can afford to play for a second because God does care for us, despite the weight of so much of what's around us. So yeah, I think to me that joy of love and the sharing of love for God and God's love for us together run through the whole thing, and there's something about the idea of rain falling from the sky being so free and not something that we have to organize or do the right thing to get. That God's love is just available to us and abundant. The second thing that really is important to me from this poem is the part about building walls. We're so keen as humans to separate ourselves, find ways of being different from each other and disagreeing or hating each other. And the image of rain that falls on both sides of a wall felt really important to me. God's love falls on us, whichever side of that wall that we've built. And the wall looks a bit silly from above, but it's also just ineffective. at stopping God's love from falling on someone else. And the third thing that is coming through in this poem is this sense of, of being made from God's substance. God breathed life into humans and kind of animated us from dirt. It feels like that's an image, well, it feels to me at least like that's an image of God's own self being flowing through us and being in us and being part of us, and us as an expression of God's love. And then how much we value water as humans just made sense for me as seeing God's substance and God's love flowing through us and in us and animating us. And in some sense that being us. And I think a really important part of that is again about unity and disunity. If we're all made from God's substance, if we're all 2/3 water or whatever it is, if the most critical part of us is actually God's substance and God's love living in us, then how can we hate someone else who is also made that way? So, yes, you clean us, but more important, we're made from your substance. And to me, that is a unifying idea, not just an idea of how much value we as individuals have, although I think that's really important, especially if we're tempted not to see our value and our goodness. But also, we're made from the same stuff as each other. And when we learn to see our value and our goodness, we also are learning to see each other's value and goodness. So I hope you enjoyed that poem and that bit of waffling. Do send in your thoughts, your responses, and your own writings. And we'll see you soon.